AB now, and AB, I just want to read the response again, the statement from ICE, so that I just pick your thoughts on it generally. It says Kenneth Nanaya Ofori is an illegal alien from Ghana that is facing corruption and corruption-related charges in his home country. He entered the United States on May 28, 2025 on a visitor's visa with an expiration date of November 27, 2025. Ofori overstayed his permitted admission. He has been issued a notice to appear and will remain in ICE custody. He'll be given due process before a Justice Department immigration judge. The Trump administration has been abundantly clear. Aliens must respect our laws or face the consequences. Overstaying a visa is an immigration law violation that can result in deportation. I mean, last week you had picked up information that the Attorney General basically confirmed to an extent. I mean, in fact, in greater detail, just with a bit more detail and the role that they were playing with the FBI and all of that. It does appear from this statement that they are silent on, but they are silent on the extradition request, but they do make it clear that they are aware that he's facing corruption-related charges in his home country. I mean, what do you have to make of all we are learning this morning?
I think the information you have is more or less a summary of the details. I believe that depending on the questions you ask, for instance, I didn't see a question like, because you knew about it, so you should have asked that question, whether his visa was revoked. So there could have been clarity there. But when you listen to the Attorney General, he indicated that he was asked to leave the U.S. on a certain date.
In fact, I remember he said in November. Which in the statement here today, they say that he was supposed to leave in November, but they described it as an expiration, November 27, 2025.
And he didn't. Then also, they were supposed to effect the arrest on a certain date, but postpone it to this other date that he was arrested. But if you put all together, and what the Attorney General said to us last week, Saturday, is a clear indication that this arrest of Ken Ofori is in furtherance of the extradition request. Because in this response, they have indicated that they are aware that Ghana is requesting for him to come back home. So, as I speak now, I think that these responses or statement coming from the ICUL is not remarkably different and has not gone beyond what the Attorney General has told the people of this country. What is critical now is we should wait, because they say you have his day in court, and I'm told he'll go to court on the 20-something.
I think the AG said 20th.
Of this month. Yeah. So we are getting close. I also heard somebody say that that is actually one of his lawyers, Frank Davis, say that the Foreign Affairs Minister was wrong to have made those statements regarding the American government's willingness not to interfere in the extradition matters. Now, when you have a lawyer who is also a political activist like I am, speak this way, it will tell you the mindset of the political party's position. You may not have the political party itself coming out with a position in terms of a press statement or a press conference, but if you want to know how death looks like, take a look at sleep. So you can infer from the way the operatives are talking of the party. And these operatives, when talking, will not say anything which is in contravention or which goes beyond the belief of the party. So yes, you want to know the MPP's position, the MPP position can be found in the comments that individual members make. He spoke about Andrew Ejipamensah. For you to come as a lawyer, if he wasn't a lawyer, that would have been a different ball game. But to have said that there is no law that imposes a duty on a public officer to account, it's a clear indication of two things. Either he is corrupt, as Kennedy, Ken Agyapong himself is.
Ken Ofori.
Ken Ofori, sorry, Ken Ofori is. Or it borders on incompetence. Because as a lawyer, and if you have done constitutional law and more of also administrative law, you will know that our constitution is riddled with accountability principles. The entire constitution is riddled with accountability principles. In fact, the preamble, you see accountability there.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that the way the MPP manage this country, like a criminal cartel, it will be difficult for the MPP to come out and say Ken should return home or distance themselves from the conduct of Ken. And so let's wait, let's see how the court processes will roll out in the US, and then we can take it from there. And 20th is not far.
And finally, just on the Sedinam updates also that came out. I mean, it's one that I've seen people comment that does appear the government wants to do the right thing, but there are also some who are the usual conspiracy theorists who are suggesting that possibility of a presidential pardon in the future may be under the table somewhere.
I can only comment on what I know.
Right now, you just did the analysis connection of the MPP and finding the party position.
Yes,
what the party.
Yes, because
they are also pointing to PCC here. That's
because I found comments made by the operatives of the party, and that's how I could say what I'm saying.
Okay.
But I can say that it was a responsibility of the MPP to get what's her name, the lady back.
Yeah.
Because all these things.
I mean, they sent the extradition request.
I'm saying were they aggressive like we are aggressive? Were they aggressive like we are aggressive? And if we were partisan, if the NDC were partisan, nothing stops the NDC from just pursuing Ken Ofori and say that, look, the lady has been convicted and sentenced. And so the reason why we are not bringing or dealing with her is because in her case, the matter is closed. But to ensure that there's fairness and that there's already a request to bring her home, this government, notwithstanding the fact that she's a member of the NDC, this government is doing the needful. The other conspiracy theory, that's why I'm saying that I cannot play God to be thinking or trying to know what will happen after here. I cannot play God. And I didn't play God when I was speaking about Ken Ofori. So you can leave me out in this conversation.
But as a lawyer, by training, sometimes you anticipate what your opponent on the other side will do and you respond to it. So in that anticipation, would you be surprised if she comes down and she's granted a presidential pardon?
Once again, I don't speak for the president. I can't speak to that.
Okay.
I can only speak to matters that are before me. And what is before me is that the Attorney General is requesting for her extradition. Nothing more, nothing less. And when she comes, and the idea is that she should come and serve the remaining of her terms here. I think that's the whole idea. So let her come. When she comes and they trigger another process, at that point, I'm not running away from you. I'll come and answer the questions.
All right, that's fine. Let me take brief comments on that issue. I forgot to pick it up with you on the joins us and contributes to these discussions. I think this is the first time I'm engaging him this year. So, Doc, happy New Year. Thank you for joining us as always. Good morning to you, Doc.
Yeah, good morning and happy New Year to you and your team and also my co-panelists. I wish you, I think, the best time to meet you in the year.
Doc, maybe let me start off with you. With all we are learning about Ken Ofori-Atta this time around, and I want us to take it from a political implication angle. I mean, it does appear that with more information that comes out in relation to Ken Ofori-Atta, one would have to ask the question that what does this continued controversy mean for the political party that he belongs to? Ken Ofori-Atta virtually for more than 7 years. In fact, it's just the last few months that his role changed and he was made a Minister of State, some finance sort of designation, international trade at the presidency. He was basically the one responsible for the economy under the NPP as a political party. I mean, we've not heard the party as an official organ speak directly to it. With all that is happening and the controversy, does it have any political implications for the party? That is one. And number two, what should be the party's approach at this point in time?
Well, thank you once again. You know, for Ken Ofori-Atta issue always coming up day in and day out, I think that the state's institutions were not able to manage this in such a way that the procedure in which we can get Ken Ofori-Atta to come to the country to have some questions to answer was not well, should I use the word in quotes, organized or structured. Because if the state institution have collaborated with how they can bring him to Ghana, or as the issue cropped up and the discussion and how I think things could have been well more better than this time. That is why we have all this confusion here and there. But we believe it's not too late as the state, the Attorney General is trying to, and also the Foreign Ministry. These are the two ministries that need to come together to ensure that all the right process, because it's somewhat country that they also have their issues, they also have their laws. So if you want to bring someone, they also have to go through their legal process and other things before they can let the person, because they also have their citizens here. And if anything happens to, they also have issues in their home country. The two countries need to have a way or a system to get them back for some questions to be answered. So in all, I think that we were not proactive enough to able to have these things in place for him to be brought back at the earliest time than what we are going through. I think as we learn from you, from your end, realize that he has a lot of issues in terms of immigration. So maybe after the immigration, and as it was stated, that they also have some corruption charges. But, you know, for the MPP party, it casts a snare in a way that because the GRA and the SML issue is in court, and he is one of the people that they are seven. That is him and the 7 acts, or maybe they are 7. So I will find it very difficult that the court cases will proceed well without him, because it seems that everything ended up with him in terms of that contract. So it is necessary for him to come for us to unravel any kind of corruption charges that has been left against him. And in also the party need to appeal, or maybe to also have a way. I don't know, maybe they may want to do it behind closed doors. You know, these are politics. And in politics, if you come out as a party, your opponent will see it in a different way. So I think the MPP is trying to tread cautiously so that it will not be seen as a way that Ken Ofori-Atta is being judged already. Let's see, that is how, because you can't begrudge the NDC coming out with statement if the MPP come up certain issues. So in the political aspect, I think the MPP is trying to be cautious so that it will not be seen as a political game for the ruling government and also the MPP. That is why. But maybe they have to work behind closed doors to appeal to ensure that, because we have a lot of people of this party, that is the previous government, in court, and it's seen as branded as a party that people are corrupt on. At the end of the day, I think the court would come out with a judgment. But if you have about more than 5 or 6 cases in the court, and it presupposes that the party is very, very careful so that it will not be branded as corrupt party members, most of them. And I think maybe we can also say that the NDC also will use it as a strategy in their campaign.
All right. Thank you very much, Doc. I'll have you hold on. I'll come back to you shortly. Let me come quickly to Ebo in the studio now. And Ebo, I mean, Doc makes the point about potentially the MPP wanting to be cautious, but this is a party that 31st January, they'll be organizing the flag bearer race. The party's communicators are publicly raising issues about government's oral. They are questioning government's oral, that the oral is not bringing results, suggesting that they did better with the fight against corruption and all of that. Here's an individual that was key in your governance of the country. He's out there. All these controversial matters are happening. And the party has not officially said anything about that. You agree that they should do it behind the scenes, or they should be speaking publicly?
Well, I think the MPP has been irresponsible relative to the issue of Kenofrate's, if you like, run away. I think the party, instead of organizing those useless press conferences, should rather organize a press conference and publicly tell Ghanaians that they are calling on Kenofrata to come to Ghana, or they are supporting government effort to bring the man home to answer questions. Whether they like it or not, Ken represents MPP. I mean, he was the finance minister. I mean, he was the fulcrum around around whom, if you like, everything revolved. And so if the man has run away and is refusing to come, and as a political party, you know that this has potential effects on the image of your party, what do? Do you distance yourself and keep quiet and organize press conferences on unnecessary issues? I think they've been irresponsible. And this is going to, you see, whether they like it or not, this is going to be a very serious blot on the integrity of the party for a very long time. Because, I mean, to think about it, that we were given a finance minister who had a lot of issues before even he was appointed. The party itself ignored those issues. Here I'm talking about the Obotan issue, which is a well-known issue in Ghana. The party ignored that issue and appointed him and backed him to become finance minister. The man, after destroying our economy with the help of Bawumia and Addison, after destroying banks, you know the banks he collapsed. I've told you I'm from Cape Coast. If you go to Cape Coast, where the data bank, the office data bank occupies, used to be GT Bank office. After GT Bank, UT Bank was collapsed. Data Bank occupied that office. Thank you if you go to Cape Coast. So this man, after destroying our economy, collapsing individual banks, and for the first time, giving us haircuts that we did not call for, haircuts that we don't deserve, that led to many people dying. He decides, I'm leaving this country. I don't want to come back to this country to face the issue of accountability. And the party has kept quiet all this while. That is irresponsibility. And so I'm not surprised because recently one of them, who used to be former MP for Sekendi, Ejepamesa, he was questioning us as to whether we have any law in Ghana that requires somebody who has served this country to account for his stewardship. Clearly, this is the mentality of a political party, not a mentality of a Ejepamesa. So if they were stealing like never before, if after stealing they are running out of the country and don't want to come back, then perhaps it is because of the mentality that in this country there's no law that requires that after you've served your country, you have to account for your stewardship. So, yes, we are going to always make reference to this. And my position is clear, and even at the risk of sounding repetitive, I'm saying that if MPP, if Ofori Atta is refusing to come to Ghana, so long as he remains abroad, his political party, MPP, the one that brought him, should remain in opposition.
I mean, last week, I remember when we had, or the previous week, we had a similar conversation. I made a point about the circumstances surrounding his departure, how he had informed everyone, the health issues that we all know about, and whether we are not being too hard on him. Now, with all what we are learning now about he entering, overstaying his visa, and issues that have come up so far, what we've learned so far, does that lend credence to the position that you took, and you still stand by it, that you believe that he is determined or has taken a personal decision that he's not coming back to Ghana to face the law here?
Of course, he knows what he's done. He knows what he's done. He knows he can't face the law and succeed, given what he's done. That is why when he was leaving, the man was running away, but he couldn't have written in the letter, "I'm running away." Let's get that one straight. That health issue, and the man couldn't have written, "Please, I'm running away." So he said he was going out indefinitely, right? So it's a way of telling you that I'm not going to come back.
Okay.
So let's not play the ostrich.
All right.
The man ran away. And another person who has been also irresponsible is the former president, the brother of Ofori Atta. He appointed him, and when he was appointing him, you remember the kind of things he said about Ken, his academic background, his qualifications and all that. If the man who served in the office, all the things he would do, when the man was the man was borrowing excessively and profiting out of it, wasn't the Akufo-Addo aware? All the things the man did, the Akufo-Addo knew about it. Yet, he has also kept quiet. Now, when you're talking about issue of corruption, let's be serious about it. I don't want to mince words when I'm talking about issue of corruption, because we all know the effect of corruption in this country. We know what corruption has done to people of this country over the years. And so, we need Ken. I am not interested in all the letters and all that. All that we need is that Ken must be brought to Ghana to face justice and accountability. And that is what we need.
Okay.